Hello, everyone. So, yesterday there was a women's college basketball game. It was Iowa versus Iowa State. The final score was 70 to 77. So, Iowa had 70 and Iowa State had 77. So, actually, when I was watching this game, I really didn't care who won because I was trying to get a feel for who plays good on the team, who's a good shooter, who's a good free throw shooter, who can shoot 3-point shots. That was just my focus at the point with watching the game. I really had no favorites on who's going to win. It didn't really matter to me who was going to win. Only time it'll matter to me if it was like the championship game. But, at this point, all I did was just watch the game, try to enjoy the game, see who's a good shooter, see who's the best player on the team. That was just my focus at the point. But I know with the teams in general, with them playing, of course, it mattered to them for winning, which I would expect. Of course, Iowa wants to win. Iowa State wants to win. That's understandable. But it was different on my end because I'm just like everyone else, a spectator just watching. So Iowa State won the game. Iowa State had 77, Iowa had 70. So before they played each other, Iowa was 5-1, meaning they won five, lost one game. Now they won five games, lost two, since they lost to Iowa State. Iowa State were 8-1 in the beginning, meaning they won 8 games, lost one. Now they've won 9 games since they beat Iowa, and they lost two. No. You know what? My fault. I'm sorry. I meant to say they won 9 and they lost one. They're still no. They're 9-1 now, because when they were 8-1, they didn't beat Iowa yet. But since they beat Iowa, they're now 9-2, meaning they won 9 and they lost one. Okay, now it's corrected. So the superstars for each team we have on Iowa. We have Caitlin Clark for Iowa. She's a good player. I know I've heard, things about her, how she's good. And I know there's things going around on social media how some people try to compare her to Paige Bueckers. They're both good players. But they play different ways, but they're both good. They have their own way of playing. And then we have Iowa State. And I was trying to get familiar with Iowa State. I was already aware of Caitlin Clark, so I'm glad I did watch Iowa yesterday just to see, get a better look at how she played. And I did see how she played, and she played very well yesterday, even though her team lost. But that gave me a chance to see, how she handles the ball in the court, how well she shoots. And I thought she played very well for herself. The superstar for Iowa State is Ashley Jones. She's a good player. She's very aggressive on the court. I'm going to start with Iowa State first. I'm going to talk about Ashley Jones. Oh, and another thing, when I get done talking about the teams, I want to talk about Paige Bueckers' injury, because I know there's been a lot of talks on social media about her being out between 6 to 8 weeks. And I know UConn has a game tonight. So today is December the 9th, 2021, and they're supposed to play Georgia Tech. Let me make sure that's the team. Yes, UConn is playing Georgia Tech at 7 p.m. on ESPN, on one of the ESPN channels. And all I've heard and read on YouTube, different videos on YouTube, that Paige Bueckers is gonna be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Now, if that is so, then I really want to see how UConn's gonna turn out tonight. That is something to watch tonight. Because if Paige Bueckers is not on the court, then UConn may be a different team. They may not. So we'll see. So I would recommend you watch the game. Another thing about Paige Bueckers, I know she sprained her left knee. So I hope she come back to recovery soon. So I'll be talking about that at the end and the comments her coach made, regarding that situation. So let's get back to Iowa versus Iowa State. So with Iowa State, I want to talk about Ashley Jones. I wrote down some notes as I was watching the game. Ashley Jones, I love her aggressiveness to the basket. She has a very good aim for the basket. I like how she takes the basket in the paint and she scores. Um, Her final points for the game after the fourth quarter, when the game was over, she scored 26 points. And Caitlin Clark from Iowa scored 26 points after the game. So they both had the same amount of points after the game. Another good player on the team is Donarski. I don't know the first name. Sometimes I hear the first name, sometimes I hear first and last, but I just get whichever one I hear. So we have Donarski. She's another good player on the team. Now, this other player, I think that she's the one to watch on Iowa State. I know they're boosting up Ashley Jones right now on Iowa State, but please keep a lookout for this other player. I think she's the next big thing on Iowa State. Her name is Emily Ryan. She played a great game yesterday. She was just off the chain yesterday when I watched the game, just playing ball. Emily Ryan, I was very impressed on how she played yesterday. She's an aggressive player as well. My favorites from watching her yesterday when she was on the court was how she stole the ball from Iowa and then she takes it to the other side and she scores a point. That's one of my favorite things on watching basketball, when you're on defense and you're trying to get the ball from the other team. Then you just happen to steal the ball so quickly and you take it all the way down to your side of the court and you make it. That's one of my favorite parts of watching the game. And she did that yesterday. And also she shoots a 3-pointer. She makes both of her free throws. And she made some other 3-point shots too, from what I remember. I know it just wasn't only one 3-point shot, but she made some other 3-point shots yesterday. So she blew me away yesterday. That's the one to watch, Emily Ryan. And I want to talk about the team as a whole with Iowa State. Well, Iowa State, they have good ball handling skills. I noticed with each of the players on the team, I don't have all their names, but the ones I mentioned were the ones that stood out a bit. But the other players that the coach did put in, they're just not afraid to shoot. They get the ball, like just each player, even Emily Ryan, Ashley Jones, all of them. They're very aggressive. They're not afraid to go in the paint and just shoot. Because you know how you see some teams where they get the ball and they just go through a strategy. They just pass it from left to right. Then they think about it and then they throw it to the center. It's like they depend on the center to shoot. But when they have the ball, whether they were center or forward, like if you on like the forward side, and you have the ball, they just go in and they just take it. Now that's like being aggressive. That's taking the initiative to try to shoot. That's showing, hey, I'm not afraid to just go in and try to shoot it. Because sometimes you don't want to put everything on the person that plays center all the time. Yes, it's good to get the ball to them, especially when they have the height advantage to get the ball and just put in the hoop. And, that's an advantage for center, but sometimes you want to just go in, be aggressive. The team as a whole, I liked how they put pressure on Iowa. They triple teamed Iowa a couple of times. What I didn't like with Iowa State, now one thing I didn't like was when Ashley Jones pushed a player down and a charge wasn't called. And I'm not saying she did it intentionally, because when you play in ball, you playing aggressive, things happen. But she did push her player down, and I thought that should have been a charge against her, but they didn't call it. Because I saw with the coach on University of Iowa, was looking like, why you didn't call it? That should have been a charge. Like, I don't know what the coach said specifically, but I saw her mouth moving like she was pissed because she thought Ashley Jones should have got she should have got called on for that. I thought so too. I'm not going to say in my opinion. No, I thought Ashley Jones should have got called for that. I thought it was a charge, but they ignored it. They didn't call it, you know. And like I said, all the players on Iowa State, they're very aggressive. They went in the paint. They were just shooting. They did what they needed to do. Now I want to talk about University of Iowa. Again, their superstars, Caitlin Clark. I heard some good things about Caitlin Clark. I know she's not afraid to shoot. Right in the beginning of the game, she was scoring points. And to me, you know, with Paige Bueckers, Paige, I know I mentioned another video that sometimes Paige Bueckers would not be a selfish player and she won't take the initiative to shoot. Now, Caitlin Clark is not afraid to shoot. She will take, you know, from watching her yesterday, she will take the initiative and shoot. Like right in the beginning of the game, I think it was like the first quarter, she was scoring points already. She's not afraid to just take it in. I know some commentators, you know, as the team is playing, you know, as the team be playing basketball, you hear the commentators talking in the, you know, like in the little background about the players as they're playing. They mentioned about Caitlin Clark, you know, improving on her three-point shots. But I don't know, maybe she had a good day with her three-point shots. I have to keep watching her, you know, as time go by. But they mentioned about her improving on her three-point shots. But when I was watching the game, she was making her three-point shots yesterday. And I know she tried to make others and she missed, but she made some three-pointers. So it wasn't that bad yesterday. I know the end of the third quarter, she nailed the three-point shot. So she had a good day with her three-pointers. Another player that's good on the team is Kate Martin. She nailed a three-point shot as well. My favorite part of the game with University of Iowa, was when this player, I think her last name is Marshall, she did an up and under shot plus the foul. And then she made her shot. I did like that, you know. I do like to see when the players, they do tricks with the ball and then they end up making it. That's one of my favorite parts of watching basketball. Not just, you know, free throws are good, but I like it when they're like stacked under a lot of players and then they still end up making their free throws. That's like very impressive to me. And I know I wrote some other notes. Monica Zenano, I think I said, what's her name? Monica Zenano. I know she made both of her free throws. And I know that after a while, as time went by, they started double teaming on Iowa State. Both teams, they played very well yesterday. They're both good teams, so I'm not going to talk too bad about them. I'm not going to say talk too bad about them. I'm not going to talk bad about them. I know they're both good teams, but they did what they could yesterday. So bravo to them. Now I want to talk about Paige Bueckers when she got injured from her last game. The last game was on Sunday when she played Notre Dame. Now, I did watch the game because I did a video on that game. I did watch it. And I did see towards the end of the game that she sprained her left knee. And then from watching the other videos, there were some comments saying, now, why did the coach even keep her in knowing they were like all the way up in points? I think they were maybe 18 points up already, or just all the way up in points where the other team couldn't catch up to them. And that was true. They were up enough where the team couldn't catch up to them because the game was just about over. I mean, that was the truth. They basically won the game, so there wasn't, no point of putting pressure on anybody because the team couldn't catch up. They were like maybe almost to, I can't remember the minutes, but it was to the point where the game was just about over. And he still had Paige Bueckers in the game. So I did see where she had the ball towards the end of the game practically. You know, that nobody didn't touch it because they did a replay on it where she was just bouncing the ball, going, going to her side of the court. And she slipped. It's like her left knee just twisted, it slipped. And then she was injured, like she couldn't get up afterwards. And there were comments saying, well, why did the coach even put her in? And then I read that the coach made his comment on what happened, saying she doesn't like to sit out. She's all something around that. I'm not saying these are his exact words, but this is something what he's something or kind of similar what he said. He said something like, well, she's a pain in the ass, or she doesn't want to, not a pain in the ass like in a bad way, but she can be a pain in the ass because she doesn't want to sit out in the game. She wants to be in the game. She prefer to be in instead of being, sitting down. And he was saying she talks about that to him, like why should she sit down instead of being in the game when she's needed? If the team behind, why is she sitting down? So to me, he was saying Paige Bueckers prefer to be in the game. She don't want to sit down. So I'm like, well, who's the coach? Paige or him? Like, she doesn't dictate to, you know, she doesn't dictate to why why she shouldn't be sent down. If the coach is telling you, during his last seconds, if you're not needed in there, if he's telling you, okay, you need to sit down, then sit down. Especially when your team is all the way up and winning, why are you in the game? If there's no need for you to be in there, you did your part, you got your team to win already, why you still want to be in the game? I can see if your team, was losing. Say if it was maybe around like 2 minutes of fourth quarter, and your team and the other team are like neck and neck. Say the score could be like 70-74. I can see you in the game during the fourth quarter when it's that close and he needs you. But when you all the way up in points and your team may have like, for instance, 90 something and the other team got like 50, then why are you dictating to why you should be in the game if that's the case? So to me, that don't make sense to have a player tell a coach that she need to be, she prefer to be in the game. And the coach should know better. You should know it's a time where you want her to be in, and it's a time where she need to sit down. But in that particular case, I'm saying with that game, other games, I can see her being in if it's like really close to them winning and you don't want them to lose. But if the team is far up in points, there's no way that you should have her in the game. Let the bench players go in and play. That's all I have to say. That's just my opinion. I don't know, what was said exactly, but he put it as to where she doesn't like to be sitting out. She likes to sit in the game. She likes to be in the game. Okay. You be in the game when you need to. Like I could see in the beginning of the game when the game's starting, okay, you in the game because you just getting the team started. But towards the end of the game, your team far up in points and that team cannot come up. Why are you still pressuring the coach to put you in the game? It's not like you're a point behind during the fourth quarter and y'all close to winning. And that's when you're needed. I understand that. But when you far up in points, there's no need to, because I know if I'm the star player and my team far up in points and I know that team can't catch up, I wouldn't mind sitting down because I know, okay, that team can't catch up. I can just rest. So I wouldn't even be, who would want to trip about that? But anyway, Connecticut and plays Georgia Tech tonight, which is December, what's tonight? December the 9th. They play at 7 p.m. So I'm gonna watch the game because Paige Bueckers is supposed to be out between 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm really looking forward to this because I want to see how this team is gonna play if Paige Bueckers is not playing. So that's all I want to talk about. Keep watching basketball. Have a great day.